I think you're doing a great job too, Brian, by the way. Really, I mean, compared to January, wow, right? So
Yeah,
pat yourself on the back, dude, because like if you think about where you were in December or January, I mean, and that
yeah.
you're like almost a one man band sometimes. You're doing a great job.
We've been telling everybody we talk to that they need to come find your program because it's really all the changes that we've made have been directly related to what you've been teaching us. So it's been
Oh,
fantastic.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
That's great. Oh, thank you. I love what I do. I do it 7 days a week, and I'm blessed. Well, good afternoon. I am right on time, 3 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast. Hello, everybody. Oh, let me check and see how YouTube's doing. Excellent. Well, hello. If you're joining me on Facebook or whether you're joining me on YouTube, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to the July edition or to the June edition. Oh, I'm a mother ahead of myself. The June edition of Marketing Mastery. I try to do these once a month where I come online live and I like to teach. It's what I love to do. And so I love to teach you something new. So as people are joining, this fantastic, thank you so much for being here. We're talking about one of my favorite topics, about one of my favorite programs called Sell the Show. And today we're specifically going to be talking about one important element of the Sell the Show framework, which is the process of creating marketing content. It's sort of the theme I'm using for the last several months because it is so important. I talk a lot about the Hollywoodization of marketing, and Hollywood has led in how consumers expect to experience marketing content. And because video has become the primary mechanism for us to sell our productions, it's critical that we figure out how to make it right and make it well as part of a broader content strategy. So that's what we're here to talk about today. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat. I will be monitoring both Facebook and YouTube for any questions that might come, whether you're watching this from our Facebook community group or you're watching this from our Facebook page. We'll be curating all the questions to make sure any question you have will get answered today. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's share my screen. Wonderful. I have some questions to start this session out. I'm wondering if anyone, as you guys are joining, how many of you know how many marketing messages an average human sees every day? Any ideas? Oh, hey, Becky. Well, I'll tell you. I will tell you how many people see how many marketing messages you see every day. 3,000. Think about it. From the minute you wake up and you pick up your phone or you pour a cup of coffee, you are seeing brand messaging everywhere you go, whether you're in your car, you're watching television, you're reading a book, you could be reading about brands. You are seeing marketing messaging over 3,000 times every day. It's crazy, I know. Now, here's another question. How many times does a consumer have to see your specific marketing message before acting on it? I think some of you might know the answer to this one. 10 to 30 times. So yes, a consumer needs to be reminded that your theater exists and you are doing a certain production between 10 and 30 times before they act. And then lastly, last question for today, how many times does the average consumer have to see, how many times does the average consumer have to see a piece of content before following you and your theater on social media? This is a new fact I learned over the last week. 11 times. Yep. They have to be persuaded by 11 pieces of content, the typical customer, before they say, you earn my follow, or you earn my following of your channel, right? And of course, we know that following our social media or joining our mailing lists is a primary way for them to be a part of our universe, and something that helps them convert, something that helps them become a ticket buyer, right? Those were some crazy stats, but they're all rooted in data. And, you know, as a marketer, I love the data. So it's very important to keep all those things in mind today as we talk about this question, right? This is the question that every theater that comes to me asks me. They say, Julie, what can I do to sell more tickets, right? At the end of the day, let's just cut to the chase. What can we do to sell more tickets? And wonderfully, we happen to have the Theater Marketing Lab Sell the Show framework. Now, this is a framework that I use with all of my individual clients. I have clients all across the country that I work one-on-one with. I also have about 60 theater makers as part of the Sell the Show program who are working inside of this framework as well. And then I also have various people, like hopefully you, that will be learning it today. And for those of you that don't know me or that are new to the Theater Marketing Lab, welcome. I'm Julie Nemitz. I am the founder of the Theater Marketing Lab, and I also am the host and producer of the podcast In the Green Room, Theater Marketing Podcast. And I'm so excited. I have to share that the podcast, I just found out the podcast has broken the top 200 podcasts in the performing arts genre. So there are a lot of podcasts about people talking about the arts. And so I'm really excited. And if you've listened to the podcast, thank you. Tell your friends. But I'm really thrilled at how successful the podcast has been this year, but also how many more people are getting to listen to it and learn from it. That's why it's there. That's there for you to learn and be inspired by theater makers across the country. And that's what I do. I've worked with over almost 2,000 theaters since 2019. I've created over 95 marketing campaigns for productions. And so I really, really believe and love and the work that I do. I came from 15 years working in for-profit media. I worked for all of these brands. At the peak of my career, I was the vice president of marketing for an agency that ran the Walmart.com business. So I worked with major brands, from worldwide brands that are all very recognizable, but I was not very happy. I was miserable, actually. And I knew that I needed to go back to what I really loved, and that was the theater. I come from 3 generations of theater makers, and to bring all of that together, and with my family, my kids, my husband, I really wanted to take everything that I learned in for-profit media and begin using it for good, and begin using it for the theater, and to create marketing solutions that help people understand how e-commerce works, how content marketing works, how the collection of multi-channel marketing can work to bring people back to the theater. It's been a challenging 3 years. We all know that. And if your theater is still standing, I say bravo. I give you a round of applause. I'm so proud and beyond excited that you have created a place that survived the COVID pandemic pause and that you are still here. And so that's why I'm here, to help you sell more tickets and grow the engagement and loyalty of your audiences. That's what marketing does, right? And I have two quotes that I live by. The first one is by Michael Kaiser. Some of you might know he's a quite renowned executive director in the arts marketing world. He ran the Kennedy Center for many, many years. He said, to have a successful arts organization, you can't cut the art and you can't cut the marketing. I believe this to my very bones. You cannot have a successful arts organization if you do not make the very, very best art you can possibly do with the very, very best people you have in your community. And you can't do it without great marketing. You can't grow. And I've already said, it's been a challenging 3 years. The press will tell you every time we open up our Google, right? We know that we're in an industry that is challenged, whether it's lower subscription renewals, or that the audiences have been slow to return, or the fact that a lot of old advertising traditions aren't working anymore, that there are theaters that are not able to sustain their business model, whether that they're giant theaters, like the giant theaters, or they're the small theaters. Everyone has been struggling. And the social contract, if you're not familiar with the social contract is, I recommend you check out my podcast, because I do an entire episode on this. But the social contract, in a nutshell, is the agreement between people in a community that they will do something for the greater good of the organization. So, for example, this was very popular in community theaters, right? Where they would be doing a show, and you would get tickets because you felt like you should support the organization, or you might know someone in the cast. They might be a family member or a coworker or a neighbor or a friend, and you just felt this social contract that you needed to go to support them. Well, unfortunately, that was one of the things that COVID broke, that COVID weakened, was that it gave people an excuse to not necessarily feel that need anymore. That, yeah, well, for this reason or that reason, or I've got other things to do, or I've got new things that I like to do with my time. I've got new things I like to do with my dispensable income that I can use to afford to go to see live theater. There are so many different reasons why the social contact is significantly weakened. So between the struggle we have with that, with theaters coming back, and the social contract being extremely weakened, we have a real opportunity to rethink how we get people to purchase tickets, how we get them engaged and excited about the art of live theater. Seth Godin is also one of my favorite marketing gurus. I love everything he writes. I believe it all, including the fact that people do not buy goods and services. They don't buy them. They buy relationships. They buy stories and magic, right? And we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but that's what we do. We make magic. How lucky are we? Right? That we actually get to make something that is magical, and that is live theater. They're buying into the experience, the storytelling, and there is no one more positioned in a beautiful, bright light to tell stories than theater makers. So how are we connecting all of that into how we market, how we get people to our theaters? There is the craft, right? The art that we make. And there is the business. In the center of that is where the magic happens, right? That magic that Seth Godin talks about. It's right in the center between craft and the business. I dare say, so does the marketing. In between the craft and the business is where the marketing happens. And as I go through today's Marketing Mastery Masterclass, don't forget that feel free to ask questions in the comment section below the video. I will make sure I go through all of those and answer any questions you have, because we've got, I want to take you through the framework today. And I'm also going to be showing you some new opportunities for you to work with the lab. Okay, cool. So before we move into the framework, I want to make something clear. this is how my philosophy is that from a business perspective, a show, which we want to call the craft, right? The piece of art we're making can really only have one priority in your season, right? As we look at production by production, how we market, it can have one of these three priorities. It can be a financial priority. You often hear me talk, you often hear me call this the big bet, the title that you've put in your season where you know financially you have to make a lot of money. And that is one of the that's the priority reason you pick the title. There is an artistic priority, right? We chose this title for its artistic reason. For example, Songs for a New World, right? Not a well-known piece, but artistically it has a lot of rich content that often excites performers, actors, directors, musicians, etc. And then there's the social priority, right? We chose this show to make a social statement that aligns with our mission and core values, right? That could be the Laramie Project. That aligns with our mission. It's a social priority for us to bring this message to our community. So once we've figured out what our craft, what our art is, and what the priority is, it really helps us determine so many things from budget to content development to how we build the framework. Now, Sell the Show is a framework that we use here in the lab to create digital marketing campaigns. It's really that straightforward. We have two priorities, just two, to sell more tickets and grow audience awareness and engagement online. Our focus is on these 4 channels: email marketing, social media, digital advertising, and website content. Again, because we're focusing on digital marketing campaigns, these are the places that we are focusing our framework on today. Now, this is the Sell the Show framework. How straightforward is this? You can certainly look at it and completely understand it right away. The Sell the Show framework is truly a 4-step process. We prepare for our campaign, we plan our campaign, we create our campaign, and we activate our campaign. It's a very traditional model for activation of marketing. But let's talk about step by step: prepare, plan, create, activate, how they're different, how they're more unique to theater marketing. We're going to start with preparing, right? We start with preparing. These bullet points outline some of the tactics and some of the things that we do in the prepare phase. We talk about the importance of the unique preparation process for theater campaigns. We work to understand the target audience and their preferences. We conduct market research, competitive analysis. We set our marketing goals and objectives. We develop the budget. We set up platforms and systems that help us in activating our digital marketing. And of course, we need to shore up our contractors, allocate resources in this preparation phase so that we are ready to move into plan, right? Now, when we're in the planning phase, we're really looking at building a comprehensive online marketing plan for a specific production. We are going to select the most effective marketing channels and tactics. We craft compelling messages and a positioning statement for the production. We create a timeline and a schedule for our marketing activities. We establish our KPIs, right? So at this point is when we're doing all the hard work to set everything up in order for us to understand what success looks like. It's one of the biggest challenges I find with theaters. They're just rushing so fast and rushing so quickly into just activate, activate, activate. They don't really know what success looks like. Is success really selling out every production, every seat in every show? Is that really success? Or are you a theater that where you can hit 70% and you are profitable? Or you hit 80% and your show hits its budget, meets its budget, right? So we have to understand all those ways we measure success so that we know what to do more of and what not to do. That's the only reason why we measure things. So we know what to do more of and what to do less of or nothing of. So we're going to skip the third area in the framework, which is create, because we're going to talk about that quite in depth today. So we're going to pop on over to activate. Like I said, activation is the implementation of the marketing plan and executing the tactics, managing organic campaigns. For those of you that don't know, organic means the content that we are just publishing for other people to see. It could be on our Facebook feed, it could be on our Instagram feed, our TikTok feed, it could be on our website, right? We're just putting it up there for people to find and read, right? We are launching paid advertising efforts. We're monitoring and analyzing all of the campaign performance across every channel. We're making adjustments and optimizations. We are engaging with the audience and building relationships. I should have made that line red and bold. One of the biggest parts of activation is the circular nature of social media, for example. When we are engaging with our audience and communicating and building relationships with them through our digital marketing, we're going to be more successful. And then launching a word of mouth amplification strategy. It's so important that that is a huge part of how we activate our digital marketing campaigns. So we've got our preparing, our planning, and our activation. What did we skip? We skipped create. So the create phase of the framework is where a significant and bulk of the process is done. It starts with everything from determining the creative direction of the marketing materials to determining the campaign timeline and roadmap, designing assets that pop online, producing a video-first content strategy, writing captivating and persuasive copy, leveraging UGC, which is user-generated content, testimonials, reviews, finding all of that content and creating something out of it. And there's much, much more, right? In the create phase of the framework, we're really ensuring that we are aligned with the production's vision as well as the marketing goals. How are we doing so far? Pretty straightforward, right? Fabulous. Okay. So here we are in the create phase. When it comes to theater marketing, the content's the thing, right? It is really what is going to suggest to our audiences that we are an organization that is willing and eager to tell people about our productions. Now, when it comes to digital content strategy, I want to make sure that we are all very clear that a digital content strategy does not mean posting on Facebook and sending an email. That is not a content strategy. Those are things that we do in the activation phase, right? A content strategy is born from much, much more. When it comes to building content for a production, for a digital marketing campaign, I look at it this way. I look at it that we are creating two different types of content. One is high quality content, and one I call easy peasy content. High quality content, we're actually going to look at some case studies today, so you're going to be able to see some stuff. But high quality content is just that. It's got a little bit more of investment in it, and we're really using it to work hard for our campaign. High quality content is made because we want it to work really hard in our advertising and in the multi-channel distribution of that content. And then the easy peasy content is the stuff that I never want you to take more than 3 minutes to make, right? Easy peasy content helps feed the algorithm. Easy peasy content keeps the social media platforms and the email platforms happy. That keeps your SEO going on your website when you're adding new content. All of our digital platforms are made happy when new content is added. And that should be our easy peasy content, the stuff we're making regularly. So in a production production framework, in the Sell the Show framework, there are these two different pieces of content that I like to play with. And when it comes to the roadmap, I wanted to give you a little peek inside what an actual content roadmap looks for the theaters I work with and the theaters that are a part of the lab programs. A creative concept, right? A creative concept can be born from many different areas and inspired by many different things. I've done campaigns where I was inspired by the costume designer, or I did campaigns where I was inspired by the set designer, the lighting designer, right? I was inspired by something that someone else did at another theater, because guess what? This is one of my favorite books, Steal Like an Artist. It is by Austin Kleon, and if you don't know about it, it's awesome. It basically is a small little book that gives you permission to go around and find lots of different things, because the Austin, he posits that there is nothing original to be made. Everything is an amalgam of many different things made into something new. And that is why I teach my students and my clients how to go out and source and look at many different things to be inspired by things to make a creative concept for your marketing. Sometimes people have gone walking through the Christmas store and found an actual ornament that inspired the entire design of a marketing concept, of the creative concept. It can come from so many different places. Every show needs a logo and key art. That goes without saying. You want a high-performing video trailer. We're going to talk about those in a minute. You want a photo shoot. You want a video clip shoot. You want a video ad, production photos and video, production promo reels, multi-creative ad strategy, and like I said, user-generated content and word-of-mouth content. So the content roadmap, you can see, goes through all these different best practices in how we make content and what kind of assets we build to use in the channels that we choose for our marketing strategy. Let's go through a couple case studies really quickly. I'm focusing in again today on the creation of marketing creative. We're going to talk about two shows that were both done by Farmers Alley Theater and one of my clients. And one is a show that I dare say few of you have probably ever heard of. If you're a big theater reader, you probably have. It was a show that ran briefly on Broadway, I think in 2019, called The Lifespan of a Fact. And then the musical Rent. So we've got a show here that very few people know or knew, and certainly the community that it was produced in did not know it. And then we have a musical that almost everyone knows. So how do these two shows approach a creative strategy and a creative roadmap that helped sell them? Let's talk about logo and key art. Logos and key art, and I dare say taglines, are super important because those three things help a customer understand the look, the feel, and the promise of the show. right? So our logo and our key art are also two things that remain consistent throughout all of the creative that we build for our campaigns. For Lifespan of Effect, we borrowed a tagline from the Broadway production, Go Fact Yourself. Think about it. Think about it. Okay, you get it. It's a little bit of a play on words, and if you think about it hard enough, you get it. But this is a really clever way to present the show, and then also to define it, a new play by our authors. And the key art, again, is being consistent across everything. And these three pieces of content that I chose actually feature the three actors that played the three parts in the production. Now, when you have a show that very few people know, the first thing I will tell you is that you make a lot more content because people need to be educated about what the show is about. So there's a reason why you see the name of the actor and the name of the character, right? You're getting to know who these people are through the marketing content that we make. Then there was the photo shoot. And I like to call this the uh-oh photo shoot. Unfortunately, at the photo shoot, it didn't quite go as we had hoped. And the lighting wasn't quite right. The location wasn't right. It didn't represent the show in the right way. But we had a photo session and photos were sent in. And we said, gee, what are we going to do? We need marketing content. And the photo session just didn't quite go well as we wanted it to. What do? We took the creative, the photos that were sent to us, and we used apps to transform them into eye-popping content. Within seconds, we were able to take a picture that looked not so great and created it in a way that transformed it into something that really grabbed attention on our marketing content. Here are 6 examples of how we took some pictures that didn't turn out so well and made them into something that just created great engagement and visually popped on our marketing content.
Hope I get the chance to travel the world.
Took that.
I don't have any plans. So wake me up when it's all over. When I'm wiser and I'm older.
Right? Videos that move or videos that are animated. It made it so much more interesting. If the lighting wasn't perfect or it looked less than professional, we were able to do that through the manipulation of the images using filters and using really cool ways to take creative that wasn't great and make it super interesting. Then we had an early trailer. Now, what I want to tell you about that trailer, we call it the early trailer because it was made very early. It was made way before even rehearsal started. Because we needed a piece of content. This version you saw was a minute long. We also had a 30-second version that went out into the world to help people understand the premise of the play, to get them familiar, for them to say, oh, that's interesting enough that I might pay attention, or that's a topic that's interesting to me, right? So that early piece of content has become super important to grow awareness and engagement by our ideal audience that we want to purchase tickets. And then in this example, we also did a promo.
I want to do a good job.
Where we had the
This is a big opportunity for me.
And read some lines.
It was supposed to be a quick fact check. Confirm a few dates. Make sure the names are spelled correctly.
What is a Jim Fingal and why is it screwing with my essay?
He is a very bright young man.
A big opportunity for me.
It was supposed to be a quick fact check. Confirm a few dates. Make sure the names are spelled correctly.
What is a Jim Fingal?
There you get the idea, right? So here's the thing I want to say about that. Oops, actually, did I just go back too soon? Did I go back too far? I did. Oopsie, just kidding. La la la. So as you can get an idea, the promo trailer definitely had an opportunity for us to tell more about the show. And then we went live behind the scenes and we did a video with the cast talking about the show, with the director.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the show.
Let's get ready to fact check.
We were able to repurpose that.
I am giving you what my first editor gave me, a chance to prove yourself.
All the way to our production.
The assignment is a final fact check for me personally.
Yes, that sounds like fun.
Wow! I mean, not too jammy! How on earth can you claim that this is any sort of jam?
But woman, if the Aztecians said there were about 5 dozen cars.
Oh, thank you!
I'm not interested in accuracy. I'm interested in truth.
So you just saw really quickly 5 very important pieces of video content. And yes, that sounds like a lot, but in today's world, with today's skill sets and the ability for us to do a lot of this without even having to have our actors present, it's doable. And this last one, obviously, is a very common and popular one. We actually film one of the productions and we make a trailer out of it, like the greatest hits of it. And that works really hard for us to get people to see what the show is about, get excited about the show, and really helps drives our advertising, if you will. So that's an example of how we brought to market, and you could see the consistency, can't you, through all of the assets that were built, how consistent they were. And I will tell you that this particular show sold out in the winter of 22. Every performance sold out. And it was a time in the winter, a cold winter, where COVID was still very much present, and we were still able to sell out this show because we had a very specific and targeted way we approached the content we made for it to bring more people into the world of the advertising, into the world of the show. Let's move on to a show that everybody knows, right? The digital key art and the logo were inspired by many different sources. Our key art happened to include our cast, because faces have a lot of power in advertising. So the minute you put a face on something, it has a 200% higher impact on the human brain. And so it was very important for us to represent this show with a photo of the cast taken in a loft in their town. And we also included the tagline that everybody knows, "No day but today," with the dates of the show. The reason we chose that tagline is because we felt like it showed a sense of urgency, and also could also potentially reference that it was time to buy tickets. No day but today to see this show. So you get an idea how the key art worked itself into how we presented this show consistently across our marketing content. So that was the early trailer I told you about. It was barely 40 seconds long, but it gave all the information that people needed to know to purchase tickets. The early trailer went out early, so that we could grow awareness of the fact that the theater was doing the show, and it performed exceedingly well as it ran, early in the process, before rehearsals even started. We had a piece of video content that represented the show that was out in the market, getting people excited that the production was happening. We had a principal cast photo that kept it consistent, that we used throughout our marketing. We had character photos. And I know everyone knows Rent, but everyone wants to know who's playing Mimi, who's playing Maureen. I didn't put their names on here, but I'll bet you can guess who's playing which part. The character photos are important because we can reuse them and repurpose them over and over and over again in our marketing content. Because unfortunately, volume matters, right? How consistently you are out, how consistent your digital marketing campaign is important. And you need content in order to do that, right? It doesn't work just to post 2 or 3 times on social media before a show. It just doesn't work to send out one email, right? You have to be consistent. That those 3 weeks leading up to opening night are everything. Two examples of how those photographs you just saw were repurposed and made into reels and TikToks in about 90 seconds. Apps are our friends. They create content visually stunning, visually arresting, and quickly. This is the easy peasy content that I was talking about. These video reels, like I said, were made in 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and they're done and they're out there growing awareness and driving ticket sales. Bite-sized content is very beautiful. That was 4 seconds long, but it performed really well. We went live at Gay Pride and we captured it live on Instagram and on Facebook. Another way for us to get more content for our shows. And then we did the long form video, which was the video that, was a minute long. We have a 30-second version, but this really was the longest piece of content we made for this production. Let's see if it'll play. The system is slow today. Oh, hi. Oh, thanks, Monica. The video app we use is Scroll.
525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about measure your life in love?
Rent. Performances through July 16th. For tickets, visit farmersalleytheater.com.
So you get the idea. That was the 1 minute high performing piece of video content we made that ran in ads, ran in streaming television, ran online, ran in email, ran on YouTube, was on Google. So you get an idea of this one piece of content. While it did take some heavy lifting, it was our hardest working piece of content because it was our highest quality piece of content. And it also had the most investment underneath it to help support and drive ticket sales. When it comes to creating content, if you've got a show that runs more than 1 or 2 weekends, you got to figure out ways to keep the content generated and the algorithm fed, right? What's the gasoline that we use to feed our social media algorithm and our email open rates? It's content, right? And so if we're doing TikTok takeovers or Instagram takeovers, it's a certain way, certainly a way that gets people excited. It gets fans engaged. It gets comments going. It gets shares and likes, really helping to promote the show in a broader aspect across our channels. This is social media specific, but there's absolutely no reason why these takeovers can't be condensed and put into small videos and put on YouTube. Right? So there's so many ways to make one piece of content and use it in many, many different places. And that's the secret to making great video content is make a piece of content and figure out how many different ways we can use it. How many different ways can we cut it and slice it and dice it and use it in many different places across the lifespan of your campaigns. And the truth is, right, the secret to marketing success, according to Seth Godin, is really not a secret. Word of mouth is everything, right? This is the character from Saturday Night Live, the Target lady. I love her because we want the Target lady to be the one to say, oh, I just saw the best production. You've got to go see Rent. I just saw it. These are the people that you want spreading the word of mouth, is Tracy from Target. Right. So we really want to figure out how to help amplify word of mouth. And I'm going to show you this really quick and record a video because I want to show you an ad. Are commenting on the ad and making plans. They're literally tagging each other and saying, I'll go with you. Stephanie said, Elise, yes, let's do it. Have you ever been to this theater? I haven't. No, I haven't. Literally, new people. Christina Bainbridge just got tickets. What did we do? Farmers Alley Theater answered back, hooray. Remember the circular nature of social media. Ashley said, Natalie, want to go? Yes, yes, smiley face. And then Julie tagged Megan. I mean, you cannot wish for more reactions in the span of a few days than that. So you get the idea, right? Word of mouth is everything. When you can see and capture that kind of activity, that's the golden ticket, right? That's the brass ring we're all trying to reach for. And marketing content can do that for us, right? And that's a big part of the framework, right? Once we've prepared and we've planned, now we're creating things that can help drive those ticket sales. That tells us a lot. So to recap, we have the Sell the Show framework. We're preparing, we're planning, we're creating, and we're activating. It's really that straightforward. We talked earlier about the different elements inside of each part of the framework, and we also talked about in a production, we have 2 types of content. You saw it today. You saw high quality content and you saw easy peasy content. I will tell you that that Rent had sold out all of its performances before opening night. They had to add shows before it even opened. So that tells you how powerful your title choice can be. And when your goal is financial and you pick a title that you know your community will want to see, it can result in hitting your goal. Okay. So again, production types of content. We had our high quality content. We had our easy peasy content. Yes. The content that took 2 minutes to make on an app and looked incredible and was seen by 1,000 people within 2 days, right? That's what we want. Now, when it comes to the broader scope of theater marketing, there really are 3 types of content. There's high quality content, there's easy peasy content, and then there's brand content, right? Brand content's the stuff you do between shows. And sometimes that's hard to do, right? If you're going from show to show to show and you only have a couple weeks in between, you don't want to go dark and do nothing in your marketing. You don't want to just stop emailing people or stop posting on social media or not update your website, right? You're going to have a goal always, every day, 365 days a year. You're going to be wanting to drive awareness, engagement, or sales. One of those 3 things your digital marketing is helping achieve. And then I know, this is you, right? This is you with the concept and the idea of having to make content for your theater. It is a fire hose in the face when you think, how can I possibly do all this? What, Julie, all this was great, but how does it get done? Right? How do you do it? And that is really where the Content Club comes into play. And people have been asking for this for, I want to say 2 years. Randomly, I'll have people asking me, can you just come sit down with me and help me make some stuff? Just like sit with me, we don't have, $10,000, but I want to just figure out how to do this really quickly. We're a DIY organization because listen, I work with mostly theaters that have operating budgets of under $2 million. So most of us, I'm sure you watching this right now, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it on a replay, you are a DIY theater, right? You're getting in there, you're rolling up your sleeves to make this stuff. Well, the Content Club is there for that. We're doing this for 4 months, July through October, one time each month. We are meeting and together we are making content. In the Content Club, once a month, I'll be holding a specific skills training class where we will sit down and learn one skill that will help us make better content. We'll do one of those each month. So there are 4 of those. And then once a month for 2 hours, we will all meet on Zoom and we will make things. We are going to create, ideally, a month's worth of content for your theater, whether it's brand content, easy peasy content, or we're working on a strategy for your high performing content. We will be working together to make that content, whether it's a strategy or the actual physical pieces of content. It's going to be led by me and a great team that I have who will also come in and help guide us. And this is the thing, we're learning by doing it. We're not just watching somebody do it. We're actually doing it and getting help, right? That's what I'm there for. We're going to be using the latest tools like Canva, CapCut, VideoLeap, Scroll, ChatGPT, Copy AI, Video AI. We're going to figure out how to use these tools responsibly and ethically so that making content for our marketing is less painful and less of a fire hose in the face. And the cool thing is, whether you're a beginner content maker or you are advanced, you're going to be able to work at your pace and at your level, because that's how we will be structuring this. Some things will be very, very there and very basic for some people, and working on it together in real time and knowing that at the end of 2 hours, you have a collection, you have a plan, you have a collection of actual pieces of content is going to be awesome. There's going to be a Facebook group too, where in between our work sessions each month, we're going to be on Facebook and we're going to talk and I might jump in there live and teach something really quick, or we might show our work. You can answer questions. If you've got questions for my team to help you, if you're stuck with something, you can do that all in this private work group in Facebook. just for the content club for these 4 months. Again, for these 4 months, July through October, we'll be meeting once a month. It's going to be so fantastic. So here's the other thing. I'm really excited to have some subject matter experts joining me throughout the months. Tony Mitchell is one of the finest sound designers and recording designers that I know, and has really done some incredible work recording our casts and figuring out the right way to present them. Kat Muma is an amazing photographer. You saw her work today. She's a video production and a video editing expert. She did the Rent video. Steve Brubaker is another phenomenal video production. He specializes in actually being in the room and shooting great video promo reels, live video production. He's so fantastic at. And Paul Stroley, who is an amazing video animation producer and graphic designer. And so these people will be joining me and helping you, answering questions. You can spitball ideas. All of that will be part of the content club. Now, in terms of how much this costs, because it does cost, our time costs money, right? The value of me sitting down for 30 minutes and teaching live training sprints is $400. The value of sitting down with us for 2 hours, 4 times, is $1,200. And the Content Club workbook on Facebook, the work group, has a value of $400 to keep it maintained and optimized, right? So that comes to, a lot of money, right? $2,000. But no, that's not realistic. I know your theater. I know your workload. I know your bandwidth, and I know how many people you have to help support you. And so I want this to be available to everyone. And the investment is $30 a month, or you can buy all 4 months, the full 4-month program, for $100, and you'll save $20. All of what you just saw, creating content strategies, creating actual pieces of content that you can run on social media, that you can run on your email, that you can put on your website. When they finally get to that show page that you have for your show, it's your last chance to sell them on buying tickets. And the content there has to be superior. And we're going to talk about that in the Content Club. If you want to learn more about the Content Club, or you want to go ahead and join, I would love that. You can do that at theatermarketingonline.com/content club. That's the URL. It's really straightforward. theatermarketing.online/content club. I'm not going to take time to go through the testimonials, but suffice it to say, I have worked with thousands of theaters in the lab, and it is my joy. It is my pleasure. And many of the people you see right here have been asking for the Content Club. And so here it is. I'm so excited. We're starting it on July 14th. The first session is on the 14th. And yes, they are recorded. So if for some reason you can't be there for the whole thing, you will always have access to its content. And then here's the little kicker. If you register by midnight tomorrow, you will also get to choose 2 free summer masterclasses. That's a value of $50. You can pick 2 masterclasses that you would like to attend for free. I'm doing 4 this summer. 2 are on Meta digital advertising. 1 is on growing millennial and Gen X audiences. And the 4th one is on word of mouth activation. Right? It's great. How do we amplify it? How do we activate it? We're learning about that in that masterclass. So joining the Content Club, all you have to do is register by midnight on Tuesday, and you're going to get these 2 free summer masterclasses. So if you register for the 4-month program, the $100 program, you will get this 2 free summer masterclass offer as well. So that's pretty awesome. $2,050 worth of value for $100 sounds pretty good to me. I don't know. What do you think? Now, questions. Before we wrap this up and I give you a couple reminders, let me just check for any questions. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I get on YouTube as well. Awesome. Okay, let's start with Facebook. If you didn't see my note in the chat, for the Reels and TikToks, we use Scroll, SCRL, is an app that we love because it does such great work with photos. So if you're taking photos of cast members or you've got production photos, they have so many different templates you can put them in. And once you upload it to TikTok or you upload it to Instagram, you can pick the right type of music that's pre-approved by the platform and you are good to go. What do you recommend as far as background music for trailers? Is that something that the theater company records? Well, there are two things that we can do. One is, yes, we, as I mentioned, Tony Mitchell is a big part of my team, and we do tend to go into the theater and do a recording session of a song so that it's our cast using a track or using live musicians so that it is our cast singing the song, because you should never, ever, ever use the original Broadway cast in anything you do, or a regional cast or a London cast. You just don't do it. It's not fair. They aren't getting paid for the work that you are using. And so I really encourage you to set aside that time to figure out how to record your cast. And again, remember, this is marketing. They don't have to sing the whole show. They need to sing a minute. They need to sing 30 seconds. That's all we need. We need 15 seconds, right? We just need these teeny tiny little pieces of great content, of great audio. And then the other option is to pick music that is universally allowed. You can either purchase it through something like Audio Hero for a small fee, or you can use free music through YouTube or free music through Instagram and Facebook. They all have music as a business owner that you're allowed to use. And you pick something that's in the theme of the show. So, for example, the free music we used for Rent sounded like Rent. It just sounded like hard rock music, right? And it was there just to help support a 15-second video clip, right? So the thing I will say that if you don't have a live, if you don't have a live band or orchestra at the time of producing the videos, I would definitely just pre-record it or just use instrumental, if you don't have the opportunity to have the singer singing. Awesome. What do you think about season marketing versus show by show? Oh, that's a great question, Becky. So season marketing, I feel like, has its time and place. Let's use a season that opens in the fall and runs through the summer. So a fall opening, you're going to have certain times of the year where you're promoting your season. At its reveal, at the weeks leading up to the beginning of the season, and then usually halfway through. You're going to remind them of the back half of your season. And those are opportunities to sell your season as a whole. Because season tickets has been an area that's been challenged in the past, there are a lot of new techniques and strategies that have gone into how to grow season subscriptions this year that have worked really well for me. But those are the times, sorry for the puppy. Those are the times where season advertising makes sense. It makes sense to do one, maybe two mailings where you do a brochure, or you do a halfway through season brochure, or you do a threefold, whatever that piece is that you make, presenting your entire season. Absolutely. But the way people purchase things is they don't buy tickets until they see what the show is about and whether it's something they want to see, which is why the marketing is so important. People are making decisions very late in the game. People are converting at a much longer tail, which means they need to be seeing things multiple times before they pull the trigger. There is so much going on in the world right now that makes people not want to plan ahead. Whether it is the fires in Canada, or it is the fact that there's so many options for people to do, or for the fact that they just don't know what they're doing over the weekend. They don't want to plan until the day before. It's just the way that it's the new normal. And that means marketing has to work harder. It has to work longer. And the strategy behind the content you make has to align with that roadmap, right? With how they're getting our content. Show by show marketing is so important because there are people that will never want to see rent, right? We need to know who those people are so that we don't target them anymore. But people need to know about our shows so that they can decide whether they want to go or not. Very often they don't think they want to go until sell the show, word of mouth, activation happens. The amplification happens when word of mouth gets circulated the correct ways. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, I see that. I see that. I see that. Oh, it must be really, really good. I better go get tickets, right? We all know that's how it works. And so to amplify that correctly with the right content is a super important part of your show by show content marketing strategy. Awesome. Let me just quickly check YouTube to make sure there aren't any questions. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay. Okay, great. I'm popping. Great. So any other questions? If you're watching this on replay, I always come back to these videos multiple times this week. So if you have a question, leave it in the comments and I'll answer you. I'll write you if you have a question as a follow-up. But I want to remind you that the Sell the Show framework, preparing, plan, create, activate. Today, I really want you to focus on creating the content club. With an investment of $30 a month or $100 for 4 months, you're going to get 4 30-minute skills training. You're going to get 4 live 2-hour work sessions. 2 hours. We're going to sit on Zoom and we're going to make stuff, right? And then when we're not on Zoom, we're going to be in the Content Club work group on Facebook, showing our work, making more stuff, getting feedback from our peers. I'm really excited at how this can potentially really help you and your theater set up for a really, really strong holiday season or 2024. We're all going to be working on very different projects. Some people might be making content for the very next week or the next month. So it's going to be really exciting and fun to see everybody working that way. 4 months, July through October. Yes, they are all recorded. You'll never miss any instruction. Going to theatermarketing.online/content club is how you can learn more and sign up. And remember, if you sign up by tomorrow night, you get 2 free masterclasses. So that's pretty awesome. You can this is like the summer of learning and the summer of making. How does that sound? I like it. All right. Ooh, we're about 6 minutes over, but I hope you don't mind. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really, really honored to be in this place of helping theaters sell more tickets and grow their audience engagement and their audience loyalty. Getting people back to live theater is what gets me up every morning. And I thank you for joining me. And I know that you are keeping your theater moving forward by doing great marketing. All right. Take care, everybody.